So I don't like to be a person who is like a doomer content creator because people like Jeff, what's his face? What is his name?
You know what?
Oh, don't want that.
I just did a 7-day silent meditation retreat.
Jeff Franzen is self-proclaimed, or people call him like a doomer content creator. Which is essentially what it is, or some people call it like loser porn, I think, or like depression porn. I think depression porn is really the word for it, but it's essentially where you go to the internet and then you talk about how your life sucks. And the goal of that is to basically be like, wait a minute, my life sucks. And so you kind of put yourself in an echo chamber, right? Where your life just continually, let me open a page of Google so I don't have to look at the YouTube For You page. So you put yourself in like an echo chamber to basically listen to relatable content. I recently watched a self-help video where you have to stop watching people who are like you, especially if you're in a place that you don't want to be, because even though they discourage those actions, you're going to start feeling like the place you are is okay because everyone else is also in the same place. It's kind of the reverse of what social media usually tends to be, which is endless comparison to other people who are seemingly living the greatest life imaginable, and you're kind of stuck. But I don't really like making content like that. I'd rather make content because I don't think Jeff Ramsden, well, oh my gosh.
I just did a 7-day silent meditation retreat.
What's his name? Franzen. I was close. Okay, I don't think Jeff Franzen really is a doomer content, because I think that the stuff he says sometimes is like helpful advice, but a lot of people will say that he's not really a good creator because he ChatGPTs his videos, which could be true, which would honestly kind of suck because and maybe even makes sense because he posts like 2 times a day or something like that. Like, he just has infinite stories. Like, when I listen to him, I feel like some of the things he says just aren't true. Like, some of the stories he has, like, aren't true. Like, I get the feeling that, like, you did this in college, I thought you did this in college at the same time, But I will say he does kind of make doomer content sometimes when talking about the political and economic state of the world. Because, when he talks, he's like, men are screwed and there's nothing we can do about it, and you literally just have to thug it out like I did and like go to the gym every day and like this is what I did, and but a lot of people don't like him because people have been talking about this for years, but then suddenly an attractive man pops up out of the blue and then he can just say whatever he wants, and then people are going to watch it. To that I say, okay, to that I say, is it better to have it not represented it to the general public at all versus having an attractive man do it? And a lot of people think he's LARPing. A lot of people think because he's attractive, he's like, he doesn't actually have any of the problems he says. He's actually living a fantastic life. And a lot of people say because he's attractive, he's not allowed to complain about his issues. Because he's attractive, so he really shouldn't have any. I guess that's the consensus. But when you get older, and if you actually do end up succeeding, your problems don't go away. They change. All right, they just change into something else. And when they do change, you would probably still say to yourself, "Well, I'd rather have these problems than the problems I had previously." Okay, when you get rich, which I'm not, but I've heard this sentiment from rich people. When you get rich, and you reach financial freedom, and you're a lot well off than the majority of the population, you realize I can't do anything anymore with anybody because everyone's working, everyone's living a normie life, so I can't hang out with them anymore because I'm rich now. I wake up and I have nothing to do but basically work on, I don't know, my business maybe, but I have tons of money now, so what do I do? That would be a problem having. Like, before, you didn't have problem socializing with people because you were in a workplace. You probably had a lot of friends in the workplace, but now that you have a successful business, you can really only hang out with people at night, and the majority of your day you're probably just doing research or scrolling or, you know, doing something else, right? When you think you'll get rich, you'll be like, I'll have so much freedom to like do these hobbies and things like that. But from what I've heard, it's just like it only lasts for a few months. Like, you're rich, you're rich. Like, you don't have any financial incentive to do these hobbies other than your own enjoyment, like, and to do them with other people, like social activities, right? And then I want to go play pickleball. Oh, no one your age can play pickleball. They're the only people playing pickleball right now are a bunch of 60-year-old men. So that's, and if that's fine for you, which sure, then go do that. Yeah, like I said, don't really like making doomer content. I'd rather make stuff that actually helps people, like stuff to get over pornography addictions and things like that, which Jeff already does. So I don't know what I'm doing. The thing's already oversaturated. I don't think I'm more attractive than him at all. What I will say is that I'm a pretty lazy person as of right now. When it comes to very specific things, actually the biggest thing that matters, which is making money. Okay, so in life you have to make money. You have to, in order for people to respect you at a maximum level, you essentially have to be able to sustain yourself. All right, you have to live a life where you can sustain yourself. In this day and age, it's actually not too hard to do. Like living paycheck to paycheck, you're still technically sustaining yourself, but you probably don't have a lot of time to do things just like in general, or many other problems that come with that, right? So essentially, if you can't achieve that, which right now I would say that I can achieve that, right? I would say that the job I currently have can pay for, it could pay for a lifestyle. It could pay for a lifestyle. It's not going to be a very luxurious one. Like right now, I still live with my parents, but I work for my parents, and their office is like 2 minutes away. If it was pretty far away, I would probably consider moving out. I think everyone should move out at some point because I think it would be motivational. I've never moved out. I've obviously slept at other locations before, but that's kind of it. But right now, I don't really have any reason to move out. I do plan on moving out later at the end of this year to go to Atlanta, which is a very big city. Hopefully find something there. I really know, but the bottom line is that people cannot respect you at a maximum level until you reach this, right? So what do we do? So don't take my advice. Or, well, I know what to do, right? Like, it's very easy to know what to do, but to be able to do that is very hard because you have these things called addictions, right? And they exist in your life and you create them over time. So me, for example, ever since I've basically been a child, I've had multiple addictions. And the biggest one isn't even like pornography. The other one is content consumption. I feel like content consumption is the most rampant addiction today. It just is. A lot of people don't let content consumption prevent them from working hard. But in cases like me, like ever since I was a kid, I would always try to steal the game or try to steal a remote to access the TV. My parents would have to hide it all the time. And I just figured like, oh, when I was 15, when I was 16, it would just go away. Like something just clicks in your mind and it just goes away. But it really doesn't. In fact, it just became more available as I got older because my parents didn't feel the need to do that because I was more mature and I am more mature as a person. But it's still here, bro. It's never gone away. Like my addiction to consuming crap is probably my biggest issue. And I feel like if I didn't have that, I would be able to get more things done. Because in my head, it really is as simple as I could do this, and this could advance my life forward. But it's easier for my brain to get dopamine by just watching YouTube, right? I don't even have TikTok anymore. I have YouTube Shorts, and I watch that sometimes, but really not a lot to be an insane issue. Getting rid of TikTok was easy, and I wanted to be on TikTok because I wanted to make dance videos, and I thought that it would be fine if I just, if I'd make dance videos every day. But the truth is that it's just like it's there, so you're gonna use it, And I deleted the app, and I haven't even been on TikTok since. I don't even know what's going on TikTok, all right? And I don't really get FOMO because of it, right? And I don't really hang out around people who are using TikTok and they're telling me like what's going on, and they're like, fudge, I need to get on TikTok again, right? I don't have Instagram Reels anymore. I have Instagram on my computer, so I can check that, which I think it's all about effort, right? So going on Instagram on my computer requires a little more effort than getting on my phone and downloading the app and going on Instagram, especially because my computer, which is a big PC, really only in one spot at my house. My phone is with me pretty much all the time, like many people is, right? But that, I would say, is my biggest addiction. And I think it's a lot of people's, biggest addiction. We say this term, you can't hold a job. So what does that mean? So when you can't hold a job, it means that you're not doing the necessary required work or the presentation of required work for management to see you and deem you as being worth it to keep around, essentially. So you're hired for whatever reason. You want to work at McDonald's. The bar to stay at McDonald's is very low. I worked there for a while. My little brother couldn't even start working there because I think their standards raised a little, probably for the benefit of them. But essentially, like, the bar to working at McDonald's is like showing up on time, which is the bar for pretty much most businesses, right? You have to show up on time, or show up a little early, or like 2 minutes maybe afterwards. For McDonald's, probably, I would say. Like for me, I'd walk to McDonald's, so I would just time out how fast it would take me to get there, and I would show up really sweaty because I'd walk there, and it would take like 30 minutes. And then you just clock in, and they put you on a task. So me, for example, like I had a very easy task of just taking orders. All right, and it was an okay workplace because you kind of had no choice. You kind of mentally it felt like you had no choice. Like there would be people who would just walk out. There would be people who were like, I assume they were just like, I can't take this anymore. I'm worth so much more than this. I need to finally go do something else. I'm done. I'm gonna stick it to the man, right? I guess, bro. I guess. And they would walk out. But obviously, I didn't do that. I don't really like. I didn't really. I liked working there, but I didn't really like myself while I was there because it was very antisocial, and I learned a lot from that experience. Never be antisocial in a workplace ever again. My next job was fun. I was really social. I had a lot of friends, stuff like that. But I kind of couldn't get out of it. I was kind of just like stuck. Like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Like if you saw me working at McDonald's, I'd be like, yeah, introvert. That guy's an introvert. That guy, he doesn't have any friends and he's a fat loser. That might be too far, but yeah. But like I said, the barrier to keep that job was so very low. You just had to do your job, and if no one was there, you just asked management, okay, what do you want me to do? And they'd be like, I don't know, go clean something. Go clean something, bro. Go do the dishes. Okay, go do the dishes. Okay, they always put me in back window, bro. Back window was kind of cool. But yeah, worlds of fun. The bar to keep that job a little bit higher, I would say. They're very lenient. You could pretty much call out like 10, 15, 14 days and they can't fire you. That's like their policy. You get to call out like this many days, like day of, like not 3 weeks in advance or anything like that. Like no, day of, you could just call out and then not work. And so many people abuse that, and everyone had to pay for the consequences, and then there would be people trading and stuff like that. Worlds of Fun is a theme park, by the way. It's like roller coasters and stuff like that. I was a ride operator. I was a ride operator for like 2 seasons. I wasn't a ride operator this year. But I would say that I did a pretty good job because once again, it was just an area where you kind of had to do what you were told, right? I called out a few days. Some of the days I called out, I was just legit doing something else with other people, and I didn't ask it off in advance. So I ended up like using the system to call it training days, which counted when someone told me later, hey, you could just call and ask them that you couldn't go to the training and you wouldn't get knocked for it. That would have been nice to know. Yeah, Worlds of Fun also doesn't tell you anything, so you kind of just have to ask someone else who knows. But yeah, and then now I'm working for my dad, and I've been working for my dad for a while, and that job is good and bad because there's a lot of like leniency to working there, because I would do my job, but I would kind of abuse the fact that I was the son, or I still do that. I was doing that yesterday, bro. I would abuse the fact that I am the son of the owner, and I would kind of use their pity to like sort of propel me. I feel like I'm a good person. It's not that I even feel, like I know it in my heart, bro. Like my identity is that I am a good person. I treat people with respect. I just do. But you really can't be the greatest person if you're lazy. That's what I realized, because when you're lazy, people have expectations for you, and then you let them down. If you let people down, you're not the best person, all right? Because they're not gonna give you the same tasks. They're gonna give you menial tasks. They're gonna give you smaller tasks. Like in McDonald's, I was doing my job. Could I work my way into management? Hell no. Like I wasn't going above and beyond at McDonald's for them to be like, hey, we wanna put you in management. Like some people did get that. Which, you know, for a McDonald's employee, that might have been like, cool, you know, but that's still something. That's still better than like, we don't think you would be a good manager. There are some people, like I know people who are like just lazy in real life, but when they get to their job, they actually do a really good job. Like they do what they're told, you know, they'll ask for more work, or they'll go above and beyond for how far you could go. You know, it was like straight A's, like people in school like that. But for me, it's that addiction that comes in. I think I have it maybe more than most people, or probably maybe the same amount. For some reason, when it comes to work specifically, like I'd just be like, work and school, same thing, they coincide. They're basically like the same thing to me. You just get paid money for one and not the other. Be like, I'd rather watch TV. I'd rather be on my phone, because I felt like in my heart, like I'm so bored and I can't function. I'm so bored, I can't function. Like I say this to myself sometimes, like I am glad that I don't do drugs or do substances or drink alcohol or anything like that. And I'm like, well, at least I'm not those people, because everyone says that. Everyone says, when they see homeless people or whatever, they're like, at least I'm not those people. Like I'm glad that my problems isn't that problems, you know. Everyone does that. But I mean, like, I'm really not any better. Like I'm really not any, like, this is what I'm saying. Like when you get higher, your problems don't go away. You just get different problems, and you have to deal with that, right? Like I'm probably angry about my problems the same about a homeless person would be angry about their problems, right? Or a drug dealer would be like, because even like celebrities who make hella money do drugs, right? And they're like freaking rich. They're rich. Like people who are rich like do drugs and do heroin, and they still get work done, bro. Like they still get work done. Athletes still like do substances, and they have addictions of their own, but they still good at basketball, you know. Like they're still doing stuff. They're not bums, right? But I have an addiction that I need to conquer. So how do I conquer this addiction? Like, what do you do? And for anyone else, what do you do in this situation? How are you going to sort of get over this hurdle, right? And I would say that you shouldn't, if you're watching this, you shouldn't really take anything I say seriously, because I haven't gotten over it myself. But what I would say is probably put yourself because I have done with other addictions. All addiction and how you beat them is pretty much the same. Essentially what you do is anything else but that addiction. You just ease yourself out of consumption, all right? With pornography, you just ease yourself out of, pornography is a little harder to do that. You kind of just have to cut it out, in my experience. But you basically do two things. right, with consumption. With consumption, it's probably more like an ease out, all right? You just do less and less and less and less until you really don't need to have to. Or you can go the distraction method, which is where you just distract yourself by doing other things. You know, like I'm a dancer. Like that's one of my passions. I dance, and I'm pretty okay at it. So if I wanted to, instead of watching YouTube, I could just dance all day. You know, it's really hard to escape YouTube because YouTube is a very useful tool, right? And I think you should use it eventually because, like, if I wanted to be an editor, for example, like I can't just edit by myself and figure everything out. Like it would be I could try to do that, but it would be very inefficient trying to figure out the tools by going on DaVinciResolve.com and looking up the manual to see what everything does. Instead, it would be more practical to go on YouTube, search up a tutorial, figure it out from there. So those are the two methods. You can use your way out of it, which is going to require willpower. I think it's probably the worst of the two methods, or you can distract yourself. Go do something else. Go do something else. Change your environment to where the ease of access to things is a lot not ease of access. Like make it so that it is more effort to consume than it is to not consume, right? Than to do something else. Or make it the same amount of effort so that if you know, like me with TV, like I wish that I could, there's a TV in my basement. It's really big. It's the bane of my existence. Because what does it solve for me? So it solves my boredom issue. Like I just go on it and there's a million things I can do on it. So there's no boredom, right? What is a detriment? It keeps me from doing things that I really should be doing, which isn't good, you know, because there's a lot of ideas that I want to have. And I have these ideas and I'm like, I'm going to be so motivated to get these done. You know, when I get home, like this is exciting stuff. Like I'm going to have so much fun doing this. And I get home and it's like, I'm in prison. I'm trapped in my own house, you know, because I just want to watch TV now. Like it's just right there. Like, you know, it's right there. Like if I had it my way, because I know what to do, I would get rid of that TV, right? And that's why I kind of want to move out, because if I move out, I can be in my own space and I can have my own things. And if I got rid of a TV, that would make, you know, ease of access to things much harder, because in my personal opinion, going on my computer and searching up things is a lot more effort than going on a TV. But yeah, definitely search up different tutorials how to do that. But that's all I got so far.